We've also got Israel and Hamas. I've had the opportunity this week to talk about this in a number of places, and I refer you to those, right? Most prominently on Press TV, and things, of course, have gotten worse there in the meantime. Yet another ceasefire has collapsed, and the killing goes on. Now, about 1,500 Palestinians have been killed. That is to say, 5 times as many as the Malaysian airliner, which was somehow supposed to stop the world. And, of course, most of these are civilians. Many of them are children. These are barbaric atrocities. So we've also got unprecedented clashes between the Israelis and the U.S. Now, these, of course, are not principled clashes. They're matters of perception and ego and personality and so forth. But some of these things can blossom into more serious divergences. So we hope that this will happen. Of course, Kerry, Skull and Bones Kerry today has proved himself once again to be a gutless wonder. He's got a statement out condemning Hamas, but saying nothing at all about the Israelis. The U.S. is also resupplying the Israelis, which undercuts any statement that they make. However, here's what I would recommend. Based on the conversations I had on Press TV, I would point to a couple of things. First of all, you got to make demands, right? Look at my webpage. There's a world consensus, I think, for a ceasefire, but now an end to the occupation and the blockade. You've got to always talk about the occupation and the blockade because most people do not know. The line here is, oh, well, if Mexico and Canada were firing missiles into the United States, then the U.S. wouldn't hesitate. We would strike back. Yeah, but you're not occupying and blockading Canada and Mexico, right? If you were occupying and blockading, maybe you wouldn't be so surprised if somebody tried to fight back, because they probably would. The other great need, a Geneva conference for the Middle East based on a Marshall Plan for the reconstruction and development of the entire region. Now, virtually every country, including Israel, has been destroyed one way or the other by war. This includes Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Somalia, on and on, right? So this is what you need. There's got to be that kind of a peace conference, and those thorny issues, right? Principally the three, right? The final status of Jerusalem, the right of return, and the settlements. All of those are going to have to be finessed, and the finessing of those has got to be lubricated with lots of money. But on the other hand, this is much cheaper than warfare, which otherwise can grow out of this. The problem with the Israeli-Palestinian situation, as well as the situation with Ukraine, is that the longer these go on, the more opportunity there is for these forces of evil, as we see, to meddle, right, to fish in the troubled waters, to set up false flag events, to try to escalate them, and so forth. And we must also add that the Syrian front is once again becoming a serious problem, and that is to say the ISIS forces have captured a Syrian army base in the northern province of Raqqa, and they have killed 50 or 60. They've executed summarily 50 Syrian soldiers, 20 more killed in a double suicide bombing, and 16 more killed in action. Some of them beheaded, some of them crucified, some of them with their heads displayed on pikes. The enemies of civilization are once again on the march. ISIS is one of them. It looks like they've taken some of that military gear they captured in Iraq and they've shifted it back for use against Assad. And you do have at the same time, I think, a backlash of the Kurds once again, that the Kurds are fighting on the Syrian side, I think, rather more energetically against ISIS than perhaps in other places. Okay, and you can see this discussion on Tarpley.net. This was Press TV on the 29th, I believe.